Hello friends, welcome back to Invest with Tara. In my last video, I demonstrated a program wherein we were actually pulling maximum values of open interest change in open interest volume data onto a separate Excel sheet for predicting the price movement depending upon the open interest analysis. Today we'll be performing the coding of that program. So uh, the Excel sheet in front of you is a similar sheet that we had used earlier. Now we go to the NSE India website for the URL. So first we'll go to the NSE India website. I've already opened the option chain for bail. So this is what we need to copy. So this is copy. We go to our Excel sheet. Now every time I have any queries or problems associated with any of these program by users, they simply forget to put this prefix URL with a semicolon. So please bear that in mind, and every time when you put an URL, please put a prefix URL with a semicolon and then copy paste. So this is for December month expiry bail option chain script. So I put bail here. My first part of the programming is same, wherein if I go to the Visual Basic tab, so here it is same like for x equal to 1 to 1, the options sheet is selected and the respective URL is used to pull the option chain data. So here, because we have used bail, so when I click or when I'll be clicking on pull options data, so I'll get bail option chain sheet. So I'm not going to redo the programming for this. It's there in my previous videos. Okay, so the next part of the programming wherein we'll be um, copying maximum values from each of these columns and try to paste it onto another worksheet. So there is a specific structure to that, so please allow me to make you understand that. So what we'll be doing is we'll have the maximum value of open interest here, the maximum value of change in open interest here, and the maximum value of volume over here for the call side, and respective values to be put in first three rows. And same is a condition for the put side. So you will be having maximum OI for put here, maximum change in OI here, and maximum volume for the put side here with their respective strike price. Now what we need to do is we need to write down this column name like B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now we should know, whenever we are coding, we should know where is open interest for the call side. So it is on column B, and where is the strike price column, so it is H. So depending upon that, we should have this values jotted down onto a paper so that one doesn't get confused. Second thing, when we go to the option chain sheet, we also need to understand that we need to get the values from these columns B, C, D, and then T, U, V. So we also need to write down these names of the columns so that we don't get caught up in errors. Now our strike price is at L. So what I'll do is I'll simply go to my developer tab and start coding for the next macro, that is to pull maximum values. So I'll name the macro as sub copy. Okay, sub copy. So my new macro is created. Now the programming or the coding for this particular macro is going to take a long time, so please bear with me and try to jot down or try to type in the same notations that I'm using here so that it doesn't get you in errors. So we'll start with the first line. So our sheet is for bail, so it is bail and bail C, and our summary sheet is already there. So what we'll do is we'll go to our Visual Basic. Now first we'll activate the bail sheet because we want to copy data from that. So worksheet bail dot select, and again worksheets val dot activate. So we have asked the macro to consider this sheet for taking all the values. Now type dem v2 to as long. Now why I have taken v2, because when I go to my summary sheet, my first value I want it onto row 2 of column B. So this is my B2. So every values will be copied from here, B2, C2 or B2, C3 and D3 to that way. So I've taken B2 here. Now please bear with me and type in the code as it is provided. So first is sum1 equal to, I'll be using worksheet function dot sum and range. Now I need to tell you about the range first. So here I'll be simply putting the range as B11 to B50. Now I have taken B11 to B50. There is a reason for that. So this is sum1. Okay. Now when I go to my option change sheet, now as you know that every pulled option change sheet has a natural format, and the actual data that we require or we'll be using starts from the row 11. So for B it is B11, and we want to discard this value, the total value. We don't want this. So whenever we are thinking of taking a maximum value, and if we consider 51 row as well, so it will take this value as a maximum value, but we don't want that. We want the range to be in this manner. So it is B11 to B50. So we need to bear that in mind. So every time, whenever if at all I want to have the maximum value in change in open interest, I'll start with C11 to C50 and not 51. Okay. Now I'll go to my programming, and in the similar manner I'll put sum2 equal to worksheet function dot sum range C11 to C50. Okay, sum3 to be equal to worksheet function dot sum range D11 to D50. Now what we have done here is we have calculated a value, that is this value. So the sum of the entire row, sum of the entire row of column B is calculated here. So we want this value. So this value is stored in sum1, this value is stored in sum2, and this value is stored in sum3. Now similarly we want to do it for the put side as well. So it is at V, U and T. So we'll start with T, U, V. Then we again go to our macro, then sum4 equal to worksheet function dot sum range, and it was T11 to T50, and again sum5 equal to worksheet function dot sum range to U11 to U50. So whenever you get this type of compile error, there is some problem with the coding. So you simply click on OK, and here we need to change this to this. Okay, and enter, and sum6 equals to worksheet function dot sum range, and this is for V11 is to V50. Okay, now we have calculated the entire values, that is the sum of all the open interest, change in open interest and volume. Now we need to find out the values. Now what we'll try to do is we'll first assign an alphabet the maximum value stored in this range. Okay, and depending upon that, keep on calculating the rest of the aspects. So now I'll assign V2. Now I have taken V2 because in the summary column on the row on the column B, the second row, I want the maximum OI of the call site to be printed there. Now V2 equals to worksheet function dot max. Range is the same, B11 to B50. Now what it will do is it will assign the maximum value stored in B11 to B50 to the integer B2. Now I want the corresponding values to be copied depending upon what is stored in B2. So worksheet function dot VLOOKUP, then B2 comma range, again B11 to B50 close comma 2 comma false. Now if I were to explain you this VLOOKUP function, now what the program will do is it will go search for a value which is stored in B2, and it will look in the range of that is a column B till B11 to B50, and will give the value which is stored in the corresponding column, that is in the column C, with respect to the value stored in B2. So what it will give is it will first find this B2 is 42,90,000. So what it will do is it will search for this value over here and the corresponding value in the next column. Now this is my column 1 and this is my column 2. So this value will be copied and printed onto the next integer, which is C2. Okay. So similarly we'll be doing it for the volume as well. So D2 equal to worksheet function dot VLOOKUP, and I want to search for B2, then range again. Now it will be B11 to D50. Okay, and I'll put 3 here and false. There is one error. Now here we have to specify the next column as well, so it will not be B11 to B50, it will be B11 to C50. So column B is column 1 and column C is column 2. So here we want to have the value stored in column 2. Similar is the case over here. Column B is column 1, column C is column 2, and column D is column 3. So I want the values from the column 3 to be stored in D2. Okay. Now again this is done for the first row of values, like the summary sheet. This 3 line of coding was for these 3 values. Now we'll be going ahead. We'll be going for these 3 values and then these 3 values, and depending upon that we'll complete our programming. So again, now we'll go for C2, or I'm sorry, C3 equal to worksheet function dot max and range and C11 to C50. Okay. Now what this function does is it goes into the column C, which is a column for change in volume, and tries to find and actually finds the value which is the maximum value and stores it in C3. So now I'll put for B3. Now here there is a slight change in the coding. We'll be using the index function, the worksheet function dot index, range B11 to B50, then comma and worksheet function dot match C3, comma range C11 to C50, and return a value 0 and double parenthesis, it ends. Now what happens here is when we are finding a value which is stored here, so now we are going from left to right, so it becomes easier to go from left to right, because if you're searching for a value stored in here, you could have the corresponding values found out by using the VLOOKUP function like this way. So it is easier to go from left to right, but whenever you are trying to go from right to left, so now I have to calculate a maximum change in open interest value, and it is stored here, and I need to have the corresponding value in respect to this maximum change in OI, so I have to use index function. So it's a bit complicated, but still it works well. Okay, now we go to D3. Now for D3 we'll be using VLOOKUP function because it is on the right hand side. So simple worksheet function dot VLOOKUP, then again C3 dot range C11 to D50, again comma 2 comma false. I believe it's done. Okay, similar way I will go for the third row, which is for the volume. We'll have to search for maximum volume. Now D4 is what I'll be assigning that integer to. Then worksheet function dot max range, and it is D11 to D50. Okay, now we'll have to use index function because we are going from right to left. So for V4 we'll have to use index function dot index, again range, again B11 to B50, then worksheet function dot match C3, I'm sorry, D4, and range D11 to D50, comma 0. There is some problem. Worksheet function dot match D4 range D11 to D50, worksheet function dot index range, okay, worksheet function dot match D4 range, okay, one more parenthesis. Okay, now we go for C4 equal to same worksheet function dot index range, again C11 to C50, comma worksheet function dot match D4 to range range D11 to D50. I'm sorry, no, it's alright. 50, comma 0, D4 range D11 to D50. There is something wrong with the coding. Okay, yeah. Okay, now we have completed the first 3 rows, wherein we have calculated the maximum values of open interest, change in open interest and volume, and also corresponding values related to those 3 columns. Now we'll assign another integer so that we could assign corresponding values to be stored in other cells of the rows. So E2 equal to worksheet function dot VLOOKUP E2 comma range B11 to E50 comma 4 comma false. Now why we have used a VLOOKUP function? Because we are going from left to right. And why I have taken E2? Because I want a value to be stored here. Now I want IV, and I want IV corresponding to this maximum OI, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to my option change sheet. Now my maximum OI is at 4290. So I'll ask the macro to look for this 4290 here and have the corresponding value stored in IV to be printed here at E2. So here it is. I'll start with this column B as column 1, column 2, column 3 and column 4. Now the coding you could see here, it is B11, B, then after B, C, D, E. So E is our column 4, so it is column 4 here. Again E3 equal to worksheet VLOOKUP. Now I want C3, right? Yes, I want to find for C3, then range, then C11 is to E11, E50. Okay, then now C, D, E, so I'll put 3 here and false. Similarly for E4 equal to worksheet VLOOKUP, and I'm searching for D4. I'll look for a range from D11 to D50. I'm sorry, not D50, E50, and close it. And because it is, and because there are only 2 columns D and E, so I want the column value from the column E, so I'll put here as 2 comma false. Okay, now similarly for the column next to IV, so it is in F, column F. So again F2, again we are going from left to right, so we'll be using VLOOKUP function. The worksheet function dot VLOOKUP. Again I want to check for P2 and select a range and go for P11 to E50, and not E50 to F50, then comma and I'll put 5. Now B, C, D, E, F. F is at column number 5 and FAL is false. Okay. Again for F3, worksheet function dot VLOOKUP, and C3, then range from C11 to F50, then and 4 fail is false, then F4 again from left to right, worksheet function dot VLOOKUP, again D4 from range, it is D11, D50, and this 3 false. Okay, here I've made a mistake in the name, so it is worksheet. Okay, now we have actually got the values till here, that is B, C, D, E, F. Now we have to go for G and H for the call side. Now again we'll be using, because we are going from left to right, we'll be using the VLOOKUP function. So we will go for G2 equal to worksheet. Now instead of doing that, you could simply copy this, now please make sure that you do the necessary changes. So it should be G2, G3 and G4. Now VLOOKUP, B2, C3 and D4 will remain there, but here from B11 you'll have to go for G, and because G is the column 6, so you'll have to have 6 here. Okay, similar is the case with C3, so you'll have to go till G50 and you'll have to have 5 here, and again for G4 we'll have to have D11 to G50 and 4. Now again we go to our Excel sheet. Now here it is at G2, G3 and G4. Okay, and the bail is at B, C, D, E, F, and this is the G. Okay, so we are taking these much as the range, and this is my column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so if I start with C, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and with volume 1, 2, 3, 4. So till now our coding is all set and we believe it's okay. Now we'll go for the strike price. Now strike price is at column H, so we'll start with H2 equal to, now again from left to right we could have that, so we could do the same thing here as well. So it's similar, we simply copy it, paste it, and now here it is H, H, H. Okay, now we want B11 to H50, H, H. Now you need to bear that in mind that H50 is for the column in summary, but we want to look into the option change sheet and we want to know where the strike price is in the option change sheet, in which column it is. So when we go there to the option change sheet, we could see that the strike price is at column L, so we'll have to define a range from here to here, so it should be L, and when I start with open interest it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the 11th column is my strike price. Okay, so here what we need to do is we need to change this value to L50. Okay, and we need to have 11 here, 10 here, and 9 here. Understood? So it will take that value. Now what we have done is we have completed the first part, that is the call side part, and now we want to work on the put side. Now to work on the put side, first we'll have to define a certain parameters, like we want to have the maximum values first. So what we'll do is just like we did it for the maximum values from the call side, we'll have to again define it for the put side as well. So now we'll be assigning an alphabet n with a numeric 7 to the maximum OIs on the put side. Then worksheet, we'll use the same function, worksheet function dot max, and range would be V11 to V50. Okay, now what it will do is it will go to the option change sheet, it will select this range and try to find a maximum value, which is 1927,500. Okay, and store that value over here, N7. Okay, M5 and L4. Okay, now I need to have the value for M7. So because we are going from right to left, we'll have to use a index function, index range. Now index range would be U11 to U50. Again, worksheet function dot match N7, comma range V11 to V50, comma 0. Okay, V11 to V50, where I went wrong here. I believe I went wrong here. Yes, I went wrong here. So end and enter. So similar is the case with L7, worksheet function dot index range, and it is T11 to T50, worksheet function dot match N7 range, and again V11 V50, comma 0. Okay, so last 3 rows for the maximum values of OI is complete. Now we'll jump to change in open interest maximum value. Now we are actually defining that value at M, this 2 3 4 5 6, M6. Okay, so here we'll define M6 first, and worksheet function dot max range, and it is U11 to U50. Okay, and again because we are going from right to left, we'll first define L6, sorry, that is because for L6 we are going from left to right, we'll simply use the VLOOKUP function. Sheet function dot VLOOKUP. Okay, VLOOKUP, and we'll search for M6 range from U11 to U50. Oh, sorry, V50. Okay, and column 2 comma false. Okay, and for L, it was for L6, no, it was for N6, and for L6 we'll have to go from right to left. Then we'll have to use the worksheet index function dot index. Is some mistake, yes, worksheet function dot index, and range, that will be from T11 to T50. Okay, worksheet function dot match, and I have to look for M6. Okay, comma range, and again it will be from U11 U50 comma 0. Okay, now it was for M6. Now we'll go for L5. Now L5 will be the volume on the put side. So worksheet function dot max range, it was at T11 is to T50. Okay, now we have calculated the maximum volume on the port side. Now we want M5. Now we are going from left to right, so again we'll be using the VLOOKUP function, VLOOKUP, and we'll search for, put here as this should be M6. Now we look up for L5 comma range, and it should be from T to U, right? T11 is to U50 comma 2 comma false. Okay, and N5 would be from worksheet, and we look up to L5 from range T11 to V50 comma, and it should be 3 comma false. Okay, now what we have done is, till now the coding is done for this much part, that is this value and all these three values. Now we have to complete the coding for this much part. Now what I'll do is, I'll be using the VLOOKUP function, but before that I'll be using the index function to find these values depending upon the maximum values, and then use this as stratum to find these values. Okay, Now what I'll do is I'll go for H5, 6 and 7. So for H5, what I'll do is I'll use the index function worksheet function dot index range. Now my strike price is at column 11, column L to L11 to L50. Okay, and then use a worksheet function to match, and I need to match what? I need to match H. I need to match the maximum value stored at L5, right? L5 comma range. Now L5 is at T11, 11 to T50, comma 0. Okay, so yeah, I need to change this. Okay, so I've got the strike price for the maximum volume. Now for maximum change in volume, it is at 6. Again the same function, worksheet function dot index range, again L11 to L50, again worksheet function match. Now I have to search for what? N6, and I need to check those N6 values in U11 to U50, comma 0, and then for the maximum OI, right? Worksheet function index range, and this was also for L11 to L50. Again worksheet function dot match, and M7 LMN, oh sorry, this was for N7, and this was for M6, I'm sorry, L5, M6 and N7. Okay, range to V11 to V50, comma 0, enter. So we have got the strike price for all the 3 puts, the maximum values puts. Now we want to have the values for net change, LTP and IV. So we'll simply be using the VLOOKUP function. This will be very fast. So what we'll do is HI, first we'll go for I5, and I5 will use worksheet function dot index, not index, VLOOKUP. Okay, and for VLOOKUP we'll simply ask them to search for H5, and we'll give them a range from H11, oh, it's not H11, it should be L11 to now we'll have to go to option change sheet now, because we want this values, that is a net change value, so it should be QRS, so it should be Q50, L11 to Q50, comma 2, 2, not 2. So we'll also need to calculate the column number. So this is my first column, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so it will be 6 comma false. Similarly, I6 equal to worksheet function dot VLOOKUP H6 comma range L11 to Q50, and again this should be 6, again false. Okay, and I7 to do worksheet function dot VLOOKUP H7 comma range L11 to Q50, again comma 6 comma false. Now IJ for J5, we again will be doing the same thing, so we'll simply copy this part, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'll change it to J. Now we'll be looking for H5, 6 and H7, but we need to change it to R, and we need to change this value to 7. Okay, and similar is the case with K. And K. Okay, now we'll go here, change it to S and S, and put here as 8. So it's actually sort of mapping being done. Now what we'll do is we'll first choose the sheet where we need to put those values to. So I'll be using the summary sheet, worksheet summary, select, and worksheet summary dot activate. Now first I'll be putting the total sum values onto the summary sheet. So these are those sum values. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll be putting those values here. Now 2 3 4 5 6 7, so I'll assign those values here at 9. Okay, we'll also be calculating the put call ratio, so please bear with me. So here I'll choose range, I'll select B9 dot value equal to sum 1. Okay, similar is the case with all the rest of the 6. So Control V, and it's 6. So I'll simply change those to C, D, E, not E, L, M, N, right? Yes. So it is L, M, and this is N. So first one is sum 1, second is sum 2, sum 3, sum 4, sum 5, and sum 6. Okay. Now apart from this, I also want to have that put call ratio, so I'll define PCR, PCR equal to sum 6 divided by sum 1. Okay, and I'll give that value to H9. Okay, dot value equal to format PCR, comma 0.00. Okay, so we have calculated the put call ratio as well, depending upon the open interest. Apart from that, we also need the range. Range means in which range the stock would be trading. So this value is actually taken depending upon the maximum OIs. So here on range 10, I'll simply define those range at say G10 10. I'll simply put that value so that every one of you would know what would be the range of the stock or the stock's price. So G10 would have the value stored in H2, right? Yes. And similarly EHI I10 would store the value, which is the maximum value, at N7, and that is not N7, that is H7. So this G10 and I10 gives you the range of the stock price movement. Now comes the easiest part. We only need to define or assign values to specific rows. So what we'll do is first range B2, okay, dot value equal to B2. Okay, so summary sheet B2 will have the value stored at B2. Okay, so my B2 is here. B2 is the maximum value. Okay, similar is the case with C2, C and D2. So again we only need to change this value C and D. Now it becomes easier. Now if I were to go for 3, 4, 5, 6, I only need to put this coding to it. So please bear with me. So I'll be simply changing it. Okay, so first I'll change this to C3, sorry, B3, then C3, then D3. Okay, similar is the case here, 3, C3 and D3. Okay, now what I'll do is instead of changing everywhere, and you only need to change the values to 4, 4, 4, 4, and again 4, 4, 4. Now what I'll do is I'll simply copy this part, entire thing, or else I'll copy only this part. I'll simply put here B range. Now it is E2, E3 and E4. Similar is the value over here, E2, E3, E4. Again copy this part, and this is F2, F3, F4, F, and again for G, G2, G3 and G4. Okay, then again for H, H2, H3 and H4. Okay, and then for G5, G6 and G7. Okay, or else we could also go for H5, H6 and H7. Then we need to go for G5, G6 and G7. Okay, G5, G6 and G7. Now we'll go for I, J, K, L. Now we'll go for I, J and K first. This is for I, this is for I, this is for I. Then this is for J. And this is for K. Okay, now for the rest of the three values, like for M5, N7 and M6, N7 and L5. So first we'll be going for N5, then M5 and L5. Then Control V, and for N6, 6. So here also N6, 6 and 6, and again for 7. Okay, 7, 7 and 7. Okay, okay, now another line of coding. So I'll simply select those values, range V2 to M7 dot select N, and I will simply give them selection style equal to comma. Okay, now this ends our macro. Okay, this was a lengthy macro, I do understand that, but this way of coding will never give you errors, and it will always help you in getting the right data. So what we'll do is we'll try to test what we have done and check for errors. Okay, what I'll do is I'll simply assign that copy macro to this thing. Okay, now I simply need to copy specific data. Okay, here you have a problem. I have not put S here. Okay, now again we'll stop this. Click on copy. Okay, here there was a big error, here should be dot. Okay, again stop this and debug. It says sum 3 is worksheet function the spelling is wrong here. Okay, again we'll stop here, again go to copy specific data and again debug. Here also there is a problem, function. Okay, again we'll stop here, then again go to that, click, again debug. So here it is worksheet function. Okay, then stop, again go to options, debug. Then here there is again a problem which relates to F4 worksheet function.v, lookup D4 range D11 to D50. Okay, now what we are looking for is the value at D4, but what we want till F, so I'll have to have F here. Okay, so again stop this, close this, and again go for that copy sheet. So here our macro is working fine. Now here you could see, okay, this value is an absolute value. Okay. The formatting was changed for this particular cell. I was trying a different number format for this, so that's why it was giving the entire value. Okay, now our program is almost done. Now this is a bar chart which I believe any one of you could put it in a proper manner and as a way they like it. Now here you could see if we were to cross verify. Now first thing is to check these values, the maximum values. The maximum values is 42.90 for the call on a strike price of 50. So bail 42.90, strike price 50. Okay, now for 1927.500 if the strike price is 40, so 1927.500, the strike price is 40. Now the total 31432500 is 31432500. It is 3290. This one is 3290, and it is 1581 and 13447500. 1581 and 13447500. Now here you don't have this maximum calculated, so here if I were to check, this value is 48,000. Is it 4,80,000? So here it is 4,80,000, and similar is the case there. It is 16,80,000. So here it is 16,80,000. Now the put call ratio, which is at 0.43, that means when we divide this value with this value, you'll get the put call ratio. Now the range for the stock price movement is on the call side, there is maximum OI at 50, so people believe that the stock price won't go above 50, and at the put side the strike price is at 40. The maximum OI is at 40, so people believe that it won't go below 40 for this current month expiry. Okay, now the change in open interest, and this is I believe I've already verified it. Okay, now the question arises that do we need to do this sort of programming for every sheet, and how difficult it would be to incorporate that to make every sheet work like this. So it is not that case. So what we could do is we only need to change a few parameters. Like when we go here developer tab, we should see here we have used these values, the 50 values, and we have used the natural formatting. So whenever we are trying to use any other particular script, so we only need to change these values and nothing else. So now um, if I were to do that, uh, say let's take a stock. So first what we'll do is we'll save this coding onto a notepad. Okay, it becomes very important. Make sure that you always save your coding to a notepad. It always helps. Control C and simply save it here. Now if I were to change the script, say any script, okay, I'll simply save this, save as uh, max OI interpreter coding. Okay, now if I were to change the sheet, so what I'll do is I'll simply go here, delete this part. Okay, now what I need to do is first I need to delete this part as well. Okay, now I need to change the URL, so I go to NSE India website, say any stock, say NMDC. This stock is in news and this company is actually doing good. Click on option chain. Now here you could see, you could either copy the URL here, Control C, and paste it here, or okay, this is for NMDC, or you could simply change the name from Bail to NMDC. Okay, NMDC. Now the first thing to do whenever you are changing any script is to first put a URL and pull options data. Now here you could see the option change sheet. It starts with 11, row 11. Okay, and the column names are same as in the case for, and the column name remains the same. So whether it is Bail, Reliance or NMDC, it will remain as B, C, D. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to check this value. The last row for this option change sheet is 45. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to go to the Visual Basic and we need to select the entire part, right? So our main coding is still here, so from here to here, and simply press Ctrl F and type in 50, replace it with 45. Okay, do it, replace all, so you'll get it replaced. So your sheet is almost done. Now because you have selected NMDC, so you'll have to change the name NMDC here, and that's it. Everything is done. You have created another program for another particular script. So let's check it out. So if I click on copy specific data, it should work fine. Now here you could see the difference. The total value of open interest on the call side is 57,48,000. So we go to NMDC option change sheet. This 57,48,000. The value here it is 55,74,000. So it is there, and the put to call ratio is 0.97, and the range is from 125 to 110. So any option strategists who wants to go for a strangle could sell the strike price of 125 and 110 and could easily earn about what 125 is trading at 1.95, whereas 110 is trading at 0.05, so there is no sense in putting that. So you could go for 115, and you could have about what, 2 rupees. The lot size for NMDC is, I believe it's 6,000, so around 12,000 in what, in a week's time. So that is actually a good option. Now we'll also verify the maximum OI. So maximum OI is at 125, which is 14,58,000. Now this is 14,58,000, it is at 125. Maximum change in open interest on the put side is 162. I believe it's for 120. 162 and 120. So this is the maximum value, 120, and the maximum volume is also at 120. So we have verified our data as well. Now why we have created this sheet? Now what happens is, this gives you the live data, but what if you want to interpret the old data as well? So what I do is I copy this data to this sheet here. Like I were to copy this path, then click here, Control V. Now I do another set of coding, so that after every set of certain time period, these data will be copied there, and these data will be refreshed with the new data. So for that also we could it's only a 5 to 6 line coding, and I believe I've already done that in my previous video as well. So we'll simply close this video by completing the coding for that part as well. So we'll go to developer tab. Now we go to developer tab, Visual Basic, and we'll define another set of macro. So sub copy 1. Okay, now I will define worksheet summary. We'll be copying values from summary to the next sheet. Okay, so worksheet summary dot activate. Okay, I'll put dim last row, then last row as integer, last row equal to this workbook dot sheets select. Now because we have changed the sheets to NMDC, we'll be putting NMDC here. Okay, make sure that you put the names correctly so you don't get any sort of error. So NMDC with a suffix C dot cells rows count, comma 2 dot end Excel up dot row. Okay, now sheets NMDC dot range A, and last row plus 2 dot value equal to date. Okay, sheets NMDC C dot range column B, and last row plus 2 dot value equal to time. Okay, now simply copy from V2 to I believe N10, right? N10, yes, N10. Okay, then okay, dot copy worksheets and then DCC dot range and last row plus 4. Okay, now this completes that coding. So we want to automate the process, so another set of coding for or another macro could be of timer. Say if I go for a timer 2 out here, I'll change the value to timer 2. Okay, now application dot on time now plus time value equal to 0 0 0 2 0 0 comma copy. Okay, okay, so this completes. So I also want the program to call the timer function as well, timer 2. Okay, 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 so there are few things that I've done. So what I'll be doing is whatever values that are copied onto summary from the option change sheet, I want those data to be copied onto the newly created sheet, so that the newly created sheet will have those historical values as well, so that we could analyze it every now and then. Okay, and I put a timer of 2 minutes. Now I prefer a timer of 7 minutes, because whatever data that are being refreshed onto NSEindia.com, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes of time. So 5 minutes of refresh period, then after that say keep a gap of 1 or 2 minutes, so it's about 7 minutes, gives me good data and not redundant data. So let's try this out. Now options, if I start this, okay, I'll click on copy specific data, so it's copied here and it's not copied here, so I believe there is some problem there. Okay, I have not called the function in the macro. I'll go to Visual Basic. I'll also have to call this function here, copy one. Okay, now it's done. Now when I click here, it gives me this value and it's copied here. So after 2 minutes it will again copy the same values. So it's 1043 here, it should be 1045 here. Now it's 1045. So the data has been copied here, the new data are copied here, and similar is the case that you'll get the old data here. So after every 2 minutes you'll be getting all these values. So if you were to check whether whatever analysis that you have done is right or wrong, or you want to go for historical values of those data, so here you could have that. So you could simply leave your computer like this and the entire day's data will be copied. I believe my coding for this program is complete here, and I also believe that you might have liked this video. If you have liked this video, kindly like, share and subscribe. For any queries or for any new ideas that could be incorporated in this video, please write to me at investwithara@gmail.com, or you can use the comment section below. Thank you.